In this tutorial, we will be talking about purpose and bias. When we talk about the purpose of a work, we are asking, why was the work written? For what reason did the author decide to write this book or article, or make this website? Is it to inform, explain, persuade, advertise, report research, or present opinions? There are many reasons an article may be written, but it is important to think about why it was written when you are evaluating your research, especially when it relates to bias. Bias means a slant, and when used in the context of writing, it usually means that the author is projecting a certain opinion, and that opinion comes through in the writing. For example, the NRA is anti-gun control, so it is likely this point of view will be expressed in their writing. Bias may be done unconsciously, but more often than not, it is used in an article or other work as part of a conscious effort to persuade the reader to a specific point of view. Thus, when someone is arguing for one point of view, their arguments may not be totally factually accurate. The purpose of such an article is to persuade, and that is the number one goal of the author, as opposed to informing, which is the purpose of an unbiased article. Because of this, a biased article or book or website may not be accurate, and the information used may not be correct. That does not mean there is nothing of use in a biased work. The author may use facts or statistics that are objective in nature and do not reflect any one viewpoint. One thing to know is that if you know that a work is from a scholarly journal, then it is likely to be unbiased, since scholarly works are often fact-checked. That is not to say it is impossible for a scholarly article to be biased, just that it is unlikely. So if your article is from a scholarly journal, then you shouldn't have to worry about bias. There are a couple of ways to tell if a work is biased. First, look at the language used on the cover or the home page. Biased works tend to use loaded language designed to elicit an emotional response, as well as language designed to persuade you to do something, such as vote on a specific issue. Specific words will also be underlined, italicized, bolded, or in another color to increase the emphasis and impact of the word. Another way is to think about who the work is written for. Who is the targeted audience? Looking at some of the articles in the magazine or on the website can help you get an idea of the kind of people the resource is aiming for. If it's for a specific demographic and is designed to influence their way of thinking, then it is likely biased. In the case of magazines and websites, another way to gauge bias is to look at the advertisements. You can also take a look at who is responsible for the content of the work. By this point, you should have a good idea of who the author or authors are, and that may shed some light on whether a work is biased or not. You can repeat the steps you took to gauge the credibility of the author to see if they may have an agenda in writing the article. For example, if a politician who frequently argues for gun control writes a book about gun control, it is likely that the book may have biased content. That being said, let me reiterate that just because a work is biased does not mean it is worthless to your research. There may be valuable research in that gun control book that the author has done. If you know it is biased, it does mean that you will have to do a bit more work, such as checking the facts and filling the gaps that the author may have left with other resources. In the next tutorial, we will look at a couple of examples to help show how to gauge bias.